Welcome to the new sustainable you, or the new sustainable you. I don't know. I would like to thank Z Baird for giving me this opportunity to speak and share all the research that I've done over the years, and for Friends of Crestwood Library and NORC for lending their virtual support, and for Friends with their financial support. So let's begin. Today's topic is trying to have a celebration without using lots of plastic. Today, I'm foregoing doing the slides and pictures and whatever, because I want to sit down and have an honest discussion, and I don't want to bore anybody. Not that my slides are boring. Well, maybe they are. But I think we need to really pay attention to how we practice in our lives, the way we live our lives, the way we go through our daily lives and clean, celebrate, purchase, what things are purchasing. Because someone said something to me recently about how a lot of the things that I'm discussing are not cheap, okay? Some of them aren't. Making a decision to go environmentally friendly can be expensive. When you go to the stores, right? How many of you out there, show of hands, or speak up, feel free to unmute yourselves. You go there and you want to do the right thing, and you want to buy organic, and you want to get something, and you're starting to feel crunchy granola. Like, wow, let me go natural. How many of you notice the price difference? Please feel free to share. See, your hand is up. Would you like to share?
Sure. Being on a budget for the library is really important to stay within the parameters. So I really feel that sometimes my choices are limited, and sometimes I buy less, but I buy quality, and I always try to buy things that we could reuse, like the tablecloths that we buy that are vinyl and that you could wipe off and that they're good for at least 25 uses. That's better than buying the throwaway tablecloths that are just one and done. But then the price differential is that one costs $5 to $10 depending on the size versus the 99-cent one. But I think that sometimes we just have to look harder and plan ahead more. And we do a lot of these programs with Feeding Westchester and with other organizations, and they keep saying the importance of planning. So if we know what we're going to do and we're buying ahead for 3 sessions, sometimes spreading the costs over 3 sessions is makes it more doable.
Okay. Yes. And while that is true, that's true. And we have been trying to make different choices in the library. It's not easy. Okay. So when you go to the dollar store, right? And I've been there. Okay. Yeah, the decorations, you can get more for your money. However, as you said, and here's the trick, that's part of the trick to get you to buy more. Okay. And things like balloons and plastic stuff like that. Balloons are not good. They don't biodegrade like we thought, because this is my lead into the craft. A lot of the things that we get from things like Oriental Trading or dollar store things, they're already they're already wrapped in there, or they're individually wrapped in plastic. So what can we do about that? Right? What can we do? What's the solution? And so Z and I sit around thinking of okay, what can we buy and stay in budget? And you know, that would make sense. So a lot of it, the first step is to do your research. Go online, DIY, go on Google or wherever you like to go Google, except for the dark web. So you want to look up DIY decorations or DIY anything, whatever it is that you're looking for. Now, Say has joined the conversation in the chat and said, not only that, but being sustainable can be more financially expensive. Yes, we determined that, but can also be more time consuming when it comes to things like food preparation or gardening or even making party decorations. Now, that's true. Making the party decorations, which is the thing that we were doing, that was very time consuming for Say, who was the one who devised these things. Let me show you. As I said, how are we going to come up with substitutes for balloons? Okay, this is what Say came up with. Actually, I like the idea of that being on, you know, on a table just as is, or you can hang it from the ceiling. It was time consuming. I like it as a hat or maybe a thing, but this was time consuming. If you're having a party for yourself, do you not have family? Do you not have friends who could help? And also, yes, Say, I got you to make a big one. We can make smaller ones or ones that are easier to fan out like this with tissue paper. Okay, I think this one was a little bit easier and less time consuming, but the thing that Say did was to make it look like a flower. So each edge, this was an incredible amount of work. So I would like everyone to give Say a round of applause, because this was wonderfully done. These are beautiful. I don't know, maybe there's a business here, Say. But the thing is, if you're already going to have a celebration, it is worth it to put in that extra time. Get off Instagram. Do you really need to re-watch those things that you're watching on television? It is a do-it-yourself project. Do you need 9,000 of these? Would anybody like to know where I got the idea to do all this craziness? I'll tell you. See, we have the instructions for this too. And if you don't want to make the edges like that, I guess we could there's a fast way of doing it. Some people are good at stuff like this. My friend Joan, who is not here, is very good at making things quickly. Not everybody's like that. But we were going to put this together as one big ball. And thank you, Say. So I was watching something on Instagram. They were showing how back in the 80s, I don't know if anyone saw this bopped around on Instagram. They released all these balloons, right? Thousands, hundreds of thousands of balloons. Yay, it was great. And they went all over the city and got caught in things. And when it rained, there was balloon junk everywhere. And it was like an ecological disaster, because I think in Chicago, they're right by the river. And these things ended up in waterways and stuck, melting in places. I mean, have you ever smelled a melting balloon? It's not the same thing as this. Also, with celebrations, how many of you remember back in the day, and I'm talking way back in the day, like in the 70s, when there were a lot of World War I vets still with us, how they would give out poppies, paper poppies. Does anyone remember that? And please unmute yourself. Julie, please.
Hi, I remember they gave them out at where I used to work at the senior center in Eastchester. They used to give out them, and that wasn't that long ago. It was mid 2000 something.
I just remember being a kid and then giving out those, and they were like crepe paper, right?
I think yes, yeah.
They were crepe paper and maybe a thin wire, or not even that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So the veterans used to give those out.
Right, right. Now they give out poppies that are plasticky, honestly. The crepe paper ones actually imitate the feel of the flower, right? Have you ever seen a poppy? It's very crepey. So I like that. This I don't like. There is no need for plastic. That's not going to go anywhere. However, as Z said before, it can be reused. So maybe we can put this in a Halloween decoration because it's orange. My cat. Could you stop that? Anyway, and the way to clean this, easy to clean. You stick it in some warm soapy water, mush it around if it's dusty, and it doesn't have to be super, and you just let it dry. So yes, these you can reuse. Okay,
Quick
we're gonna do it.
question from the private chat, Jackie.
Yes.
This could be a question to answer at a future Sustainable You. We don't want to put anybody on the spot, but this person said that they were reading something about like there was supposed to be an organism to help break down plastic, or like they were trying to in the lab create some kind of formula or organism to help with breaking down plastic. Can you speak to that at all?
Yes,
Or
I can.
okay.
I mentioned this at the last New Sustainable You. Right now, what they have done is they formulated organisms. They have organisms that can break down fossil fuels in water, like oil, any kind of spills and things like that. And these organisms can break that down. They also have bacteria, and there is mycobacteria, funguses that can do the same thing, that can go in and actually eat radiation without creating a Godzilla. But as far as plastics go, yes, that's still in the works. I believe it's a mycobacteria, which is a fungal bacteria that can go in and break down plastic. Very true. Very good. All good stuff. And yes, I think we should speak about that next month. And I'm writing it down, right, with my super duper Sharpie pen. I feel like Blue's Clues. Didn't he use a Sharpie pen? And next month, we'll also be speaking about gardening. I had an idea, though. We will be speaking about what's in the dirt, how to have pride in how we're going to give the earth a summer break. We will give our gardens what I like to call summer support. Little consonants going on there. Summer support for the environment, because what's in our soils, the stuff that we keep putting in the soil, because my goal is to get rid of the lawn. How many of you, show of hands, keep pouring money after money into getting your lawn looking uniform? It is a money pit, and you wear out the dirt. You will literally, you will make the dirt tired. You will take out every good bacteria there is. And if you want to get rid of things and you want to fight bugs that are out there, or you want to encourage better growth, the last thing you want to do is turn your dirt dead. And you know you have dead dirt when you can break a dish on it, when it is so hardened and compacted that you can break a dish. And last year I spoke about this, where take all your leaves, don't bag them up. Throw them all over your yard in the dead spots. Yes, it doesn't look pretty. If you have to, you go over it with the mower, you mulch it, and you leave it there, because beneficial bugs will bury themselves in the dirt. One of the things that has happened with the raised bed, and I know we're going off into gardening, well, I'll bring it back. One of the things that happened is that our raised bed looked like a mess, right? It wasn't pretty at all. I tried to cover it up with leaves, but we put in banana peels, lunch stuff. I said, leave the pine cones in there, throw the dead leaves. And I got some complaints about the way it looked. However, that box, that raised bed, is teeming with good bacteria. Let me bring it back to the paper. Okay, so we will, because next month we're going to talk more to that, and that's what I would like to have. Summer support. I don't want the third S in that title, summer sustainable support. I think just the summer support is good. But so let's continue on with the paper. So I'll do a lead in to what we did, because we have the seed library. So instead of using pots and more plastic pots, I said get peat pots, which I think I spoke about last month, and to put in a seed starter, not soil, but seed starter is made up of compost, peat moss, and vermiculite, because that's what it starts best in. And this breaks down, you put all your dirt in there, and it breaks down, and you plunk it straight in. Well, guess what? Hell's bells. If you can't afford that, you can use newspaper. We have at the library a pot maker that it's a peat pot maker without using the peat. So you take a newspaper and you twist it. They're actually very inexpensive, and you can use newspaper. The question was asked, are the inks that are used in the newspaper toxic? They're not. The ones that I use, the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times and the Daily Journal, or the Journal News, all use soy. They use soy inks. And I successfully sprouted one of these, which is a Morning Glory. Why do I bring this up? Because when we're talking about celebrations, we're talking about buying or money, or, right? So it's not that hard to start some seedlings. This is the easiest one. Sunflower seed. Mammoth sunflower seeds. We'll be growing these and giving some of these out. I'm going to start them for everybody. So please let me know, let Z know if you would like a mammoth sunflower seedling. We'll give you one. You will need to put a stake in it, a stick of some sort to support it on its way. But those are very easy to grow. The next one are Morning Glories. You just have to take a string, cotton string, and support it as it climbs around your light pole. They're very beautiful, and these are the heavenly blue ones. You can take that, wrap it in some tissue paper, and now you have a nice little gift. It's thoughtful, and it means that you worked on the gift rather than run to the store, especially if you know a person likes gardening. So before I move on to any other sustainable things, which I have a whole list here, does anybody want to interrupt the conversation? Yes, Dee.
People keep private chatting me. I think they might
Fine.
have it set to private instead of public. The person said that they like to do gift wrapping using like string and the funnies from the Saturday or Sunday funnies from the newspaper, so that it's like a double gift. You can read the comics as well as get the gift.
That's right. I saw you do that over Christmas where you took some string. I also encouraged everyone to use hemp. They sell biodegradable or paper or hemp wrapping, raffia as well. I know Mary mentioned raffia, which is a type of string. So yes, wrapping gifts in comics, I think is cute. I like it. I like the newspaper as well, because you can decorate it with paint. You can make circles on it. You can do anything you want with any of the paper. It could look really interesting, especially if you want to decoupage a little bit. You could put some water and flour and paste over other pictures of things. You can do that. So that's one idea. We also went through wrapping gifts in cloth, taking pieces of cloth and wrapping it together. You can do that as well. So moving on, we were talking about what to do, how to make it so that you're not going out and buying a ton of stuff that you know people are just going to throw in the garbage. So what I did, I have relatives who are sticklers for paper invitations. So I decided, I went somewhere, it was a little pricey, it wasn't horrendous, but these are not exactly invitations. These are fiber papers. They're made from a certain kind of plant, and it is sustainably sourced. And there was no unfair business practices using anyone. So I have this fiber paper, which has some flowers pressed into it. And the same thing with this. The envelope is also fiber. And then I took some stampers, which I will probably keep 2 of them. This one is a graduation stamper. I will, when I am done, although I may keep it, because who knows, my son may get his master's. So I have the graduation cap. I have a "You're Invited," and I have a llama because Salvatore likes llamas, my son. And that's how I'm putting together the invitation. I'm stamping them and then writing very quickly in it, and then out it goes. So I felt that that was a better choice, considering that people like to have tons of papers. A lot of the cards that we get are coated in plastic. So in the card, as a little, little gift. And I want to talk about these too, because Z and I talked about getting paper infused, a plantable paper. Has anyone ever seen this? Has anyone tried plantable paper? Z?
Yes, I like plantable paper because it's like the gift that keeps on giving. So 1 year for graduation, one of my godchildren sent out thank you notes with plantable paper. So we all planted them, and depending on the soil, I'll be honest, it depends on what kind of seeds are in the plantable paper. Some environments are better than others to grow, but it is a kind idea and a thoughtful idea and a sustainable idea. So I was happy to be involved in that.
Yeah, they need to be watered more, so they have to stay moist. So it's a half and half. It's best to put them directly in, and the soil should be rich in the case of this, because the paper needs time to break down. I believe, I don't think the color matters, but maybe it does. This could be clover. I never asked. So what I'm doing is putting this in the invitation. So it's like, hey, join us, and while you're at it, plant these things. Because, hey, why not? So that paper is also compostable, which let's talk about. What do we use for a party? I'm asking all of you. Please feel free to join. Anyone, what do you want to say when you start your party? I'm sorry, I have paper on the brain. When you start your party plans and you're going out shopping, what do you buy? What's the first thing that you buy?
Paper cups.
Paper cups, right? Valerie, when you buy a paper cup, what does it look like? Is it coated? Do you buy plastic cups? What do you do?
Well, I'm not going to say I buy plastic because I know that's the wrong answer.
No, there's no wrong answers here, because you know what? Let's all admit it. Let's get together and admit, yeah, we buy those red cups, the blue cups. I'm guilty. I have some inside. No one's perfect.
Yep.
So would you like a solution?
Yes.
Yes. Paper cups are a good solution, even the waxy ones, okay? Even if you have to get the waxy ones, I'd rather see that than see a plastic cup, or even what are the foam ones? The styrofoam, right? We have styrofoam. Styrofoam in Yonkers is now compostable. Did anybody know that? And not compostable, recyclable. It's not compostable. The best thing to do, though, is to avoid that, especially given the fact that we are now going to get legislation that will put a limit now on recycling. And I'm not sure that that's the worst decision. Why is that not a bad decision to limit recycling? Where does our recycling go? Because it doesn't go here. We have one in Westchester, a recycling plant, and they are, would you say, maxed out? They are maxed out. Where do you think it gets shipped to? It gets dumped in the ocean. And on Instagram, how many of you have seen on Instagram where a wave of garbage just gets swept through somebody's river? That goes way far away. So nations who are well off can send out their garbage and dump it far away, and it ends up in one of our neighbors, as in world neighbor, earth neighbor, river and backyard. Our garbage ends up there. I'm not blaming the US either. There are other nations who are to blame. It's there, but the fact is we should limit our recycling. Initially, I thought, oh, that's terrible, we shouldn't do that. But we need to make smarter choices. One of the bowls that I got for a program that our intern did was for making instant oatmeal cups. And we put the fixings in these bowls, and we've reused the bowls since then. I believe the bowls were made out of banana leaves. They sell those at Party City. I didn't just randomly buy that. I was shopping. I was at Party City. Party City. And they had them there. Party City also carries biodegradable cups, biodegradable bowls. Z and I are running an experiment. Is this bowl truly biodegradable? Is it really biodegradable? Turns out within 90 days, if you water it, it needs water, okay? Initially, when we put the bowl out in the raised bed, it stayed dried for a long time. So what I did is I took a vase, and you can see how it got, I sandwiched it in between dirt, and I watered it, and you can see how it, I believe it's the mold that's breaking it down. So these biodegradable compostable bowls, they're for real. The ones that are stamped and say there is an official designation. We've used those bowls. I've used those bowls for wet things, right? Julie might know, if you make lasagna, if you make pasta that's wet, especially aiolio, right? Garlic and oil, that's going to go right through a paper plate. They're making them thick and they won't go through. But the other thing is, if you're worried about that, you could have plate liners, right? They used to have those a long time ago. My mother had basket ones that were, where you could put a paper plate on, but you don't need to go in the direction of paper plate. And in the end, you say, but Jackie, those bowls are expensive. No, Z and I got those bowls from ShopRite. They had those. And I can tell you, based on an experiment, they biodegraded, they composted. And you don't have to have a backyard for that. You can compost right in your house. So there is that. The other thing is, I'm sorry, do you have dishes? Use your dishes. Use your silverware. And it doesn't have to be fancy. So you're going to be washing dishes. If you have a dishwasher, utilize the dishwasher. It uses up less water than hand washing. And maybe you have to run a few loads, but that's what it's better than having those plastic plates. Any questions? Any comments? Okay. Z, bamboo instead of plastic cutlery. Yes. Bamboo is everywhere. I know, because it's growing in my backyard. It is miracolo. In fact, we chopped down is Matt there. I call Matt Farmer Brown. Is Matt up there? We should put Matt there, because Matt came to my backyard, chopped these big bamboo sticks, and that's what we're going to use to make a nice trellis for Z's cucumbers. Because yes, we are growing cucumbers in the garden. That's for next month. Does anybody have anything else they would like to add? Okay, so we did the graduation, the plantable flowers. Oh, look at that. We're already at 20-2, 21:41. Yes, we did this sunflowers, graduate. What am I missing? Okay. So now I can go on to my other stuff, my usuals. So I would like to do some gifts for patrons, and you can do this too. Okay, you could do this with your own people, and it's not that expensive because you can always utilize it yourself. This is soap base from, I'll figure out the name in a sec. But this is a soap base, and I get it through a company that sells soap bases for making your own liquid soap and things like that. It turns out to be cheaper than buying the soaps that are in the store. I know, because I did the math. You melt and pour just means you chop it up, you heat it up in a pot. And you stir it up and you pour it into whatever kind of mold that you want. If you want these or you want that, I have different shapes for different things. And the soap base is easy to clean, right? When because it's soap. So when you do all your pouring, you just put it in the sink and blah, blah, blah. It gets clean. The pot's already clean anyway. It's soap. I like to put in things like calendula flowers, right? These calendula flowers, calendula is a good anti-inflammatory for your skin, right? You ever see calendula? They sell the cream calendula. I actually have used the soap because I gave this out, I think last year. And if people would like to see that again, we can do it because I have extra soap base. I infuse the soap with the calendula and I have used it on my skin. I have constant itchy skin from one way and it works. It actually calms down my skin. You can also make your own calendula infused oil, skin oil. And considering that all of the ingredients I'm using are organic, you know, unless you know for certain that you're allergic to calendula, which is really not likely, it's a good way to utilize that kind of thing in soap. And you can make a nice little gift for graduation. Hey, I made this soap. Another thing to make, and I know it sounds preposterous, it's not that hard. I am the least crafty person I know. You just ask Mary. I'm terrible. I'm really not a crafty person. I just follow directions really well. I was going to do a gift for my stepsister's wedding. I ran out of time, but little lip balms, just do it yourself stuff with the top. Wait, I'm doing this wrong. All right, that's not coming out. Is that the way it is? Yeah. So mini lip balms in packages. They're great. They're fantastic. And all you need is a few ingredients and you have them on hand always. You'll always use them. And what was the next thing? Yeah, melt and pour. Okay. Any questions? And oh, wait, I forgot. We've done this before. This is what's left of my bar lotion. I always advocate, instead of buying bottles of lotion, you make your own. Again, not difficult. Not difficult. It's not even cooking. You keep the flame on super low and you melt beeswax a little bit, coconut oil, mango butter if you want, and cocoa butter. And you use this to rub it on your skin. Say, well, it's so much easier to take it out of a bottle, you right? So yeah, we're talking this whole time and I'm just, do you ever use bar soap? It's the same thing. So see, we're talking, not hard, not difficult. And actually the cocoa butter is exceptional for your skin. Coconut oil, however, if you have acne prone skin, would probably not be the best thing, but cocoa butter, mango butter, those things are good. And you can mix it with, I believe, avocado oil is okay too. It doesn't really clog the pores. But oil is not really the problem in terms of acne, especially if you clean your face a lot. So what's next? Before I blather on, does anybody have any questions? Would anybody like the bar lotion again? How about teas from weeds in your garden? There are many that are non-toxic and delicious, like dandelion flower. Maybe some, yes! Not from your yard if your neighbor sprays their yard. And yes, I had the same idea. And guess what I did? Thank you, Nancy, who mentioned growing teas. I bought chamomile. I bought chamomile flowers. I understand I'll get about 2 or 3 tea bags out of this small pot, But you can grow chamomile from seed. It's not difficult. And yes, that would be, I love chamomile iced tea with lemonade. It's really delicious, actually. And we can talk about the, oh, let me write that down. Okay, chamomile. Okay, tea grown. I forgot one other thing from Say's projects that she worked on really hard. And it was hard to do because we were talking about decorations. This whole thing was decorations. This is a lantern, and I think the intricate cut design is really cool. And I think what you could do really is stuff it with paper and turn it into another ball, maybe yellow paper, make it look like a flame. We could do that. Ooh, Say. And Nancy mentioned that she's growing loofah from seeds. Yes. Yes, that actually works, especially if you can keep it hot enough. It's a tropical plant. So you have to have a place in your house that you will remember to water frequently and keep it nice and warm. Am I correct about that, Nancy? I think it has to be kept warm, but we're going to certainly get a warm summer. Hopefully not. Hopefully we'll catch a break. It won't be too blistering hot. Lanterns. We were going to talk about lanterns. They have paper lanterns, the one that you can put the flame in and set it off. Or you can make a paper lantern for your house with a reusable battery operated candle. So that's another way of doing. Yes, so Nancy has said loofah, they're growing it, they're germinating the loofah plant under glass to keep it moist. I'd like to see pictures of that, Nancy, because I love that idea that you grow a loofah and it's something that when you're done with it, it biodegrades, you throw it out. You put it in your garden, you don't throw it out. However, someone asked me about plastic before. They do have bags that will break, plastic bags that will break down. I just remembered that now. So, one last thing. We still have some seeds. So please, if you like to grow things or whatever, please come by and take some seeds. A lot of these will keep until next year. Do you know how I know that? Because I grew last year's seeds. But you have to keep them in a safe place. They have to be in a cool, dry space. Okay. But yes, definitely come by. And every week on a Wednesday, on a Tuesday, don't listen to me, I am giving out gardening tips and giving out little seedlings. I expect some of you to stop by, get some seedlings, get some seeds, get more seeds, because it's okay. We I know the harvest is usually in September, October, but we get warm weather for a while. So I wouldn't worry about starting things that late. Tomatoes, tomatoes you can start in June as well, because this way you get tomatoes all the way to end of September. Because I noticed like my tomato plants are finished. So I'm going to do a staggered germination. So I'm doing a seedling sage time next week. Somebody from Crestwood help me out with
3 p.m. on Tuesdays. Well, that's when we do the pop-up gardening.
Gardening. Mm-hmm.
Right, and you were looking for your seedling program when it is. While I'm looking for that, can you talk to us a little bit about what you mean by staggered germination? Like, how do you know what seeds you can kind of push to have this?
It won't work with squash.
Okay, because it needs more time because of the vine and everything, or?
Needs a lot more time, and it will run into cold weather before it can get to be a big, nice, fat pumpkin.
Okay.
And the only way you can grow pumpkin, and one of the seeds that we threw the pumpkin in, that was another thing. The pumpkin seed has popped out.
Woo, that's good.
We have to pull it, unfortunately, because it needs work. We can pull it and keep it alive if someone has a lot of room to let it roam. Maybe I'll take it and let it roam on my lawn, because I'm getting rid of my lawn.
Yes, let's do that.
Getting rid of lawn.
Yes.
And seedling sage, yes, Wednesdays, 3 p.m., May 24th to the 30th, May 24th and May 31st. I will be doing seedling sage. I'm going down there in a little bit after I get some coffee. Apparently, COVID has been declared over. I still wear my mask in crowded spaces, so I hope no one's offended if they see me with a mask. However, why do I mention this? Because now I'm doing a dab. Now we can bring our reusable cups to Starbucks because during COVID, they were not accepting the cups. No, we can't do reusable. So I am bringing my reusable cup today and getting my mocha, because this was good. We did a lot of stuff, and I big thanks to Say, who did a lot of work, made me look good, because can I really get this done? I probably could, but it was a big job. Say engineered a lot of stuff for me, and so Say gets the golden star today, big golden star. So and thank you. And Julie sends thanks. Thank you, Julie. I hope this helped and there were things that you will utilize. Also, all of you, come to the library and take out some environmentally friendly books. Take out some books. Come to the library. Take out books on environmental ideas. Please, that's what the books are there for. Okay, so seedling sage today at 3, and then gardening on Tuesdays, and we'll be in the garden where things are growing. Okay, so we will be in the garden, the raised bed at Crestwood. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, we're growing potatoes.
Yep.
Potatoes are a lot easier to grow than I gave it credit. They take a very long time, a lot of water. They got some natural rain when we got drowned, and they've sprouted already. So we have some little sprouts in the bags. And my idea is someday we will give out space for people, even in urban areas. Everybody gets a potato bag. Everybody gets a potato bag. That everyone eats potatoes, and you can grow all kinds. So potatoes, we're gonna have potatoes. And I think per potato, you get 6 potatoes per, so I put 4 in each bag. So,
Jackie, I love your enthusiasm. I'm so excited about the potato bags.
I know, everybody should get a potato bag. I mean, I sound like Oprah. Everybody gets a book. Everybody gets look under your seat. I put a potato bag under there. I wish. But that's how you support farms, small farms. And that's what we did. We went from using one farm to using a different nursery, which is actually also a farm. And they gave us the potatoes. I mean, this is New York. We make French fries. Okay, so any other requests for next month? Because next month is support the earth, support summer, support the earth in summer. I'm sure Z wrote it down. Any questions? Okay. Well, thank you for joining, and we'll see you on the 14th next month. And please come to the seedling sage. Take some of my, I'm growing these for, people who come to our library. Take them. They're easy to grow.
So we
And
had a question about seedlings. Somebody said that they wanted to know like what's the best thing to grow them in, because you get in the stores, you see those little packets of sort of like composted, it looks like composted cardboard.
I've already started the beauty of what I did is that they're already, yes, these are peat pots.
Right, so peat is one thing, but is there another thing that people can use to grow?
Newspaper.
Okay.
That's you grow them in newspaper, and you grow them in a combination. If you want to purchase it at the store, Lowe's sells seedling starter. Do not start your seeds in soil because the soil is too rich. Or you can get a combination of compost, vermiculite, and I'm blanking, peat moss, compost, and vermiculite. Soil for a seed is just too rich. It's like having butter and cheese on your fettuccine with cream. Too rich, too much. It's too much for them. They won't get strong. But as they grow, you want to give them a little food. And we'll talk about that we'll talk about that. If you want the food for your seedling, come and show up at Seedling Sage. But I will give out directions for that. So don't worry.
What's vermiculite made of?
Vermiculite looks like it's made out of foam. It isn't. Vermiculite is made out of volcanic ash. And I learned that because I went to the library. The library taught me that. See? The vermiculite is made out of volcanic ash. To me, and someone else said, that looks like plastic. I thought that was plastic. It's not. And it helps the seedling mix to hold in water. They don't dry out as much. I almost killed the first seeds because I wasn't there on the weekends. Turns out all I had to do was water more, and it held, and I also made dirt blocks. That's another thing. But again, we'll talk about it at Seedling Sage.